right.
Okay, so here we are conducting yet another survey in the framework of the project The Future Is Now, and where we ask people all over the world what kind of world they want to live in. And today I'm talking to Kurt from California about the model of a creative and constructive society and how he sees it. Hello, Kurt. Thank you for agreeing to participate.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. You're a blessing to the world, because when we open up to what the heart has to offer and connect the heart, this is like connecting the matrix. What can't happen? We have not even come close to being able to see it. Well, you know, there was a book called Island by Aldous Huxley. That was a pretty great world that he had created in his last novel. But we can, with the time that we have available during this coronavirus time,
Mm-hmm.
come together, figure out what kind of an economy do we want? Do we want one geared on big business, or do we want it geared on people, on the
Yeah.
the
So let
way
me
to be
ask
able to have
you, yeah, let me ask you, that brings us to my first question. Could you describe a society in which you would feel happy, where everyone could live comfortably, and what should education, healthcare, and working hours be like in this society?
well, if we model it after the so-called primitive people, they work about maybe 2 hours a day, maybe, and they have a beautiful, happy life. There's a great movie called The Emerald Forest, and when you watch that, you'll understand that it can be a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful environment. We don't have to live in a forest. We can live anywhere and everywhere, but we would be in a totally cooperative society. The education system would not be in prisons like we have here in America. I taught at Stockholm University and all over the world in 5 continents, but we need to be able, excuse me, take the effort out of it. We get to be able to transform humanity by opening people to the real values that everybody has. Focusing on the values, like there's two countries that I know of that are focusing on gross national happiness, Bhutan and New Zealand now. And it's all because for New Zealand, it was because of a tragic incident that happened there. And they decided, what do we hear about on this planet? Let's make everybody happy. Let's make our society good. Instead of thinking about the old way of the capitalistic society or the communistic society,
Yeah, we
where,
call it the consumer society.
yes, it's more stuff. And instead
Mhm.
of having more stuff, let's have more time together. Like this is a time, I have actually 6 people living. I have a homeless person living in my house now because he was living in his van, and we said, come stay here. You can sleep in your van, but you can be in the house and so on. And so he gets to have showers. We feed each other and so on. We're living a life of the heart rather than of the money. Like I was a teacher for over 50 years and from at 3 levels of education. It was magical. What we haven't done is focus on what we want rather than what we don't want. We focus on putting money where our mouth is, which is war. If we really focused on what we want, which is not war, we would have a Department of Peace. When we focus on that, we find out how to create peace. We find out how to be able to have it for everybody. And all that money that goes for this big bomber or this bomb or whatever, it's there to be able to uplift
Yeah,
humanity, to keep
and
people,
I
help
think
people up their lives.
it's very easy to have peace because that's what everybody wants.
Yes.
That should be
I've never spoken to anybody that doesn't want peace and love.
exactly.
And those are the first two of the living values that this one character education program has. And all the other values or virtues that people talk about, the kind of quality character, comes from love and peace. And we designed a program at a school that I taught at and it was rated the best program in the state because it focused on strengthening character and the body and fit for life and fun. It was the best PE program 2 times, and was the only one ever rated that the best in the state. And this is California. So,
So I think you just said something a little bit before. I want to rewind about being happy, and is that our purpose in life? Is that not our purpose in life, to be happy?
I believe that you get happier when you serve others. It's like Mother Teresa. She would never go to an anti-war thing, but she would go to a pro-peace rally. She focused on what she wanted. And when we give, God, you feel good giving. You feel good opening people to a talent. Like I was a scout leader forever. And I was also a Boy Scout and so on. Not the kind of scouts that get making the news now, but it was a magical time to be out in nature. Who gets to get out in nature anymore? Now you can. You're off work. You have time to get off in nature.
Oh yes, lots of people at the park right now. That's right.
And people are singing in the streets and all kinds of good things.
Yeah. So can you tell us, like, well, in addition to having high quality free education and healthcare, what other aspects would you add in this wonderful society that we want to live in?
Well, the big thing is finding out the juice the person has in life. For me, it was education. For somebody else, it's numbers and business and things like that. Well, when we focus on what we homeschooled our boys. My son knew so much about all the wars in Europe, all the bombs and all the planes and all the tanks and all that. He learned that in one summer. He knew more about it than some professors do in the college because we let him flow with the juice that he had. Now he doesn't think about that. He thinks about so many other things. He's opened up to life more, but letting him flow with where the juice goes. He got out into nature. He found trapdoor spiders with this naturalist we had him with, and he's been out adventuring. And so you let people flow with the juice.
Wow.
And that's where the indigenous do. They didn't care whether you had this kind of a gender or not. They didn't care if you were this way or that way, but you flowed and you were appreciated for it, just like everybody appreciates the variety of flowers we have. God created us in so many different ways.
What do you think? I'm just curious, like, what do you think about these surveys that we're doing? Do you think this is something that, what would you do to help people find out more about?
I would, those are beautiful surveys because what happens is that people should be able to repost them on their Facebook or on their LinkedIn or wherever and get this idea out. Because when we focus, again, on what we want rather than what we don't, some people don't want Bernie, some people don't want Trump, some people don't want Biden, some people don't want this. I like chocolate, you don't. You know, whatever it might be. But we get to be able to flow with the juice and focus on really what we want, which was a happy life and happiness. I designed a happiness class at a ghetto school. 3 years later, kids are still doing the homework. What kids in a ghetto school do the homework at all, much less 3 years later? But when we need to be happier, and there's simple things to do. When you meditate, you get happier. When you exercise, you get happier. When you show gratitude or think of the things you're grateful for, you're happier because you're remembering these good things rather than the crap that people go to bed with if they watch the evening news. When you watch the evening news, you go to bed depressed. And instead of being depressed, there's simple things to do. There's positive psychology. I have a list of about 11 pages of links that make you happier. Links to 10-minute talks or 10-minute short films like The Man Who Planted Trees or the Butterfly Circus and so many other things, and links to movies that people can see that uplift people rather than denigrate them, that don't kill them. Just like there's commercials with somebody zapping somebody that did something good for them. I mean, what kind of a commercial is that? People dehumanize people. Now we get to focus on humanity and the planet, because what does the planet do? It feeds us.
And we have a lot of time to do that right now. So this is a good time to do that.
We have regenerative agriculture on our property. We have a little less than half an acre. We live in Los Angeles area in the San Fernando Valley. we've just done the whole property that we can right now
Uh-huh.
with it. And then we get to be able to then, after that, get to be able to have a good vegetable garden that will feed our neighborhood.
That's wonderful.
Simple thing. So
That's great.
anybody, it's
So
like,
it sounds like you're already living in the creative and constructive society, because I was going to ask you if, you know, if you support the idea of it. It sounds to me like you're already there.
well, I've lived in an ashram in India. I've lived in America in different places. I've lived in communities that are all about the body, mind, and spirit. Now, I don't have to believe, like I may be a Muslim. Well, I can still appreciate what Christians did because they're people of the book and so on and so forth. But I love Taoism. Taoism is an incredible teaching, but how many people ever read about all these different religions? But when you do, and you meet somebody that is in with that, and you talk with them, this is another thing we get to do via Skype or through Zoom or however, we get to be able to open up. We don't have to be isolated. I can talk with you who happen to be
Exactly.
from Russia, but living in America and so on and so forth.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate you talking to us. And I am going to, like you suggested, post this on our Facebook and then Instagram. If you have Instagram, you know, we can
Yes.
post it
And
there.
also, would you please let people know about it's the W's, the worldfestorganization.org.
Okay.
Is
Okay.
the World Fest Organization. It's a primitive site. If somebody wants to upgrade it,
Uh-huh.
please talk to me about it. I'd love to have that, because this is one of the things we do is hook up the network
Yeah.
and we support
Okay.
each other.
Sounds good. I'll definitely take a look at that. It's interesting. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you so much for doing the work. It's perfect.
I just stopped. Okay. Let's see.
Thank you, my dear.
Thank you.